Today we're going to complete our notes on solving quadratics by taking square roots. So I need you guys to have out your pink notes for lessons 11 and also 12. We're going to finish both of those sets of notes. So first from lesson 11, let's look at this one. X squared plus 36 equals 0. Okay, so analyze what we have here. What form is this one written in? Well, this one's written in standard form. Okay, so when we have standard form, you want to check and see if the b value is equal to 0. And if you look at this one, a is going to be equal to 1, the understood 1 that's right here. C is going to be 36, but there's no x to the first term, so b is 0. Okay, so we have what we need to be able to solve this by square roots. So our first task is to isolate the squared term. All right, so let's subtract 36 from both sides. Okay, so I've done that. And now I will take the square root of both sides. When I take the square root, I need to remember to write plus and minus, right? Because I could square something positive or square something negative to get this. So notice on the left-hand side, squared and square root are inverses of one another. They cancel each other out. So what I'm going to have left is just a plain old x plus and minus. Okay, now let's see if we can simplify that square root of negative 36. Well, I noticed right away that 36 is a perfect square number and negative 36 the opposite of a perfect square number. So when I have a negative inside of my parentheses, I still have the 6, right? Because the square root of 36 would be 6. And then I need an I on that because the negative inside the square root makes this an imaginary answer. So I have two possible answers for this. 6i is one answer, and negative 6i is another answer. So two possible answers. Okay, let's look at this one. So what form do we have here? Well, again, I see that I am in standard form, and my a value is negative 6. My b value, well, there is no x to the first. My b value is 0, and c is 102. So this one meets the qualifications to be solved by square roots because it is in standard form and b is equal to 0. All right, let's see what we can do to isolate our square root. So I'm going to subtract 102 from both sides. And this one is going to take one extra step. I'm going to need to divide by negative 6 on both sides, working to get that squared term by itself. So negative 102 divided by negative, all right, that's going to be equal to positive 17. You remember negative divided by negative is a positive. All right, now I'm ready to take the square root of both sides and write my plus and minus. So square root on both sides, write the plus and minus. Okay, squared and square root, you remember, are inverses, so they cancel one another out. And so what I'm going to be left with is that x equals plus or minus the square root of 17. Okay, so let's see if we can simplify this. If I try to do a little factor tree on 17, I find out that 17 is prime, so there's nothing that will divide into it other than 1 in itself. I do not have a negative inside the square root, so I don't need to worry about an I. So that is my final answer. In this particular case, nothing will simplify, so I'm done. Okay, now let's remember what we found here. If I were to graph this one, it would cross the x-axis times. Once at positive square root of 17, and then once at negative square root of 17. And if I wanted to, I could put the square root of 17 in my calculator and find the decimal value that goes with it so that I could put my x-intercept in the right place. But this one, I did have two answers, positive 6i and negative 6i, but on our real axes, we cannot put imaginary numbers. So what this tells me is that this one does not cross the x-axis. It does not have any x-intercepts. Okay, let's move down to number 6. So what form are we looking at here? Well, in this case, I see parentheses, and if I subtracted 4 from both sides, it would line up to be in vertex. Well, vertex form is the other form where I am able to solve by square roots. So let's see what we can do here. Let's isolate the square term. So in this case, I don't just have x squared. Do you guys see I have x minus 3 in parentheses squared? So I'm going to isolate this whole thing. All right, so in order to do that, I have a fraction right here, but we're not worried about that. Fractions are not frightening. We remember that to get rid of a fraction, we just multiply by the denominator on both sides. So on the left-hand side, those 4's cancel out, and so 1 times anything is just itself, and I'm left with 1 times x minus 3 squared, which is the same thing as x minus 3 squared. And on the right-hand side, 4 times 4 is 16. Okay, so here I have isolated the thing that is squared. It's just that this time I have more than one thing that is squared, x minus 3 quantity squared in the parentheses there. But I'm still going to now take the square root of both sides, and I'm going to remember to write my plus and minus. All right, so on the left-hand side, squared and square root are opposites of one another. They're inverses. They cancel each other out. So what I'm going to be left with is x minus 3 on the right-hand side plus or minus the square root of 16. So let's see if we can simplify that. Well, 16 is a perfect square number, so what I'm going to end up with is that x minus 3 equals plus and minus 4, because the square root of 16 is 4. All right, now let's see if we can get x by itself, because in order to find the x-intercepts, I need to have x by itself. So I'm going to add 3 on both sides. All right, so this might look a little bit tricky. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end up setting up 2 separate equations. I'm going to have 3 plus 4, right? Because I've got this plus right here. So 3 plus 4. And then totally separately from that, I've got 3 minus 4. So I'm going to end up with 2 answers. X is equal to 7 and x is equal to negative 1. And if I wanted to put those as a point, I could do that because what I have found here are the x-intercepts. This one is going to cross the x-axis 2 times. It's going to cross it at 7 and also at negative 1. Now the way it's actually written is not in the correct form. I would have to set it equal to 0 in order to see these 2 x-intercepts. All right, let's move over to lesson 12. Okay, so here's number 2 on lesson 12. All right, again, I can see that this is like vertex form. If I subtracted that 78 from both sides to make it equal to 0, it would be in vertex form, which is what I need in order to solve my square roots. So isolate the square root. Well, I can see that there's nothing over here with the square root, so that part is already done for me. I'm ready to take the square root of both sides. And when I do that, I need to remember to write my plus and minus, kind of running out of room up there at the top of the screen. So on the left-hand side, squared and square root are opposites. They cancel each other out. And on the right-hand side, plus and minus square root of 78. Okay, let's see if we can simplify that 78 at all. Let's see if we can do a factor tree. So I notice that it's even. So 2 will go into 78 39 times. All right, 2 is prime, but 39 is not. Let's factor that again. 3 and 13. Okay, so I don't have anything I can circle. I don't have any pairs. I have 1, 2, 1, 3, and 1, 13. So that means I cannot simplify this. Even though it looked like I might be able to, I cannot. So plus or minus the square root of 78. And now I need to work to get get x by itself. So I'm going to add the 3 on both sides. All right, now last time I had just a regular integer there. I just had 4, plus and minus 4. So I could add and subtract with the number that I was bringing over. But in this case, my 3 is an integer. My square root of 78 is an irrational number. It's inside that square root. And I can't put things that are outside square roots and things that are inside square roots. I can't actually combine them. They're not like terms. So this is as far as I can go with my simplification. I cannot add or subtract anything else. So my 2 answers, 3 plus the square root of 78 is one answer, and 3 minus the square root of 78 is the other answer. So 2 answers for this one. If I were to graph this one, subtracting the 78 to make it equal to 0, if I were to graph this one, it would cross the x-axis these 2 times. All right, let's try number 4. So what do we see here? Well, this is actually standard form because there's no parentheses. If I wanted to, I could rewrite this one as 1 over 25 v to the second minus 1 equals 11, right? So you guys can see if I subtracted the 11 over here, I would have standard form with b equal to 0. So I have what I need. All right, let's isolate that squared term. So I'm going to add 1 to both sides. 1 plus 11 is 12. Okay, now just as we did before, we have a fraction there, which is not a problem. We know how to handle these. So when we have a fraction, we're going to multiply both sides by the denominator. All right, the 25s over here cancel out, and I get 1v squared, or just plain v squared. On the other side, 12 times 25 is 300. Okay, so I have isolated my squared term. Now let's take the square root of both sides. Remember to write your plus and minus. All right, squared and squared are inverses. They're opposites and cancel out. So I get plus or minus the square root of 300. Okay, let's see if we can simplify that. Let's do a factor tree. So 30 and 10. This will be 10 and 3, 5 and 2, 5 and 2. Okay, now we're going to circle everything we have pairs of. We do have some pairs this time. I have a pair of 2s right here. I have a pair of 5s. I'm going to cross out my composite numbers so they don't get in my way. All right, now let's see what we have. V equals plus and minus. All right, the things that I have circled go outside. 2 times 5 is 10. And the only thing that I have not circled and not crossed out is this 3 right here. Plus or minus 10 square root of 3. So the final answer to this one, V equals plus or minus 10 square root of 3. All right, last one. This one is in vertex form because I see that with the parentheses squared. So I have the correct form to solve by square roots. All right, let's isolate that squared term. What should I do first? Should I take care of the 5 or should I take care of the 3? You're going to want to subtract the 3 first, just like we did when we were solving absolute value equations back at the beginning of the semester. You do the adding and subtracting part first, and then you do the division. So I'll divide both sides by 5. All right, I have isolated the thing that is squared. It's just that in this case, it's a binomial. I've got 2 things in parentheses there. I'm ready to take the square root of both sides. And when I take the square root, I want to write plus and minus. So on the left-hand side, squared and square root cancel out. On the right-hand side, I get the square root of 10. Okay, let's see if we can simplify that square root of 10. So 10 factors into 2 and 5. Nothing can be circled. I only have 1 of each, so there's nothing I can do to simplify that 10. But I can add 1 to both sides to get x by itself. So I'm going to get x equals 1 plus or minus the square root of 10. So I can't put those together just like before because one of them is in a square root, one of them is not in a square root. So that is as simple as my answer can get. And I do, in fact, have 2 answers. I just want to make sure y'all recognize this. 1 plus the square root of 10 is one answer, and 1 minus the square root of 10 is the other answer. So this one has 2 solutions, just like the others.